Why did I start with that?
Production!
Well, that's coming up later in the show. Right now,
You're fired.
welcome everybody. It's another exciting edition of the Sports Hole. I'm your host, Luke. With me, as always, XFL Jim, Rock and Roll Matty Goldberg. We got news, football news.
This is actually a pretty news-heavy week.
It's a newsy week.
It's wild.
Let the news drowned out your blues.
Yeah. With the NFL, they just let's just have one day where everybody goes to new teams, and you can't keep track. It was so fast.
Yeah, there's a lot. And then you of course get drawn to the big names, but I'm sure there's other smaller names that might have more of an impact.
Do you guys see Jameis is on the Browns now?
Yes. It's like, what?
The one place you could go where that wouldn't cause any controversy.
They need a picture with him and Deshaun Watson together.
Yeah, like out on the town.
Yeah. It's like, hey, we're gonna take out the guy that made massage girls put their fingers in my butts, and we're gonna bring in a guy who allegedly was sexually assaulted a woman in college, allegedly, because who also said grab her by the pussy.
Yes.
And ran it up on, who did he run it up again last year? That was a big controversy.
Probably the reasons why he's not back with the Saints either.
The Saints also just have they've been in cap hell
for 3 or 4 years. He ran it up against the Falcons.
Yeah.
Is that where the coach had to actually apologize to the other coach and said, I have nothing to do with it. One of the great moments in the NFL.
Yeah, that's funny. Maddie, what is your out of the first day here, first day and a half of NFL free agency / trades? What's going on? What do you think are the biggest movers and shakers?
Well, I mean, one could say the Falcons have a franchise quarterback, but what has Kirk Cousins ever done? So you're like, well, it's not like you're going to win a division or a Super Bowl. I think maybe the Bucs re-signing Baker Mayfield because he had a great year, and getting Mike Evans back, and they can build on that. Their defense is very good. So just that re-signing is good. I had my neighbor's an Eagles fan, so I'm like, hey, excited about Saquon Barkley? And he actually said no. He said we spent a lot of money for a guy who's hurt all the time. But I think that's a great addition for the Eagles. I think he's a perfect fit there if he stays healthy, and he's really kind of coming into his own. Although I don't know how much running backs constitute to wins. Like, I don't know even if Derrick Henry goes on the Ravens, some people will be like, oh, that puts him over, but I don't know if that does.
Yeah, I really don't know, I feel like it's almost all running back stats have so much to do with how good your offensive line is.
Yeah. And you feel like you can get a guy in the 3rd round or a Tony Pollard who signed with the Titans, who I think is a great sign. I think he's a good player. I don't know what the Cowboys are going to do at running back, but are they going to win more games or lose more games without Tony Pollard? Are the best running back in probably the last 10, 12 years has been Derrick Henry, and they only made it to the AFC Championship one time with him, where he absolutely carried them that one year. But it doesn't still a quarterback gets you to the Super Bowl and wins you a Super Bowl. So
I will say Saquon does offer a decent amount in the passing game too.
Yes, he does. He's perfect for Philly. But I don't know, the jury is out on a lot of these signings. It's not like, oh my God, this is it's not like Randy Moss going to the Patriots.
Did the Packers go trying to sign?
They got Josh Jacobs, and then they cut Aaron Jones, and he just went to the Vikings. This is happening so fast.
Yeah. Blink and you'll miss it all.
Yeah. It's crazy.
What do you think about Wilson to the Steelers? Fresh start. How good are the Steelers without a quarterback last year? How much do you think this does?
I like the pick. I guess they already gave up on Pickett. That's kind of they might keep Rudolph as a backup. Trubisky's back on the Bills. I think Wilson will be hungry, and I think he'll be in a situation where Sean Payton was the worst thing that happened to him. Sean Payton didn't like him from day one, and I think he'll be motivated, but I don't know how much he has left in the tank. I mean, I know I love Tom Brady, but how many guys at that age can do it, especially a running
Again, he
quarterback
still had
like-
decent stats last year.
Yeah, he wasn't
know, like-
bad. He wasn't. People act like he was absolute like Zach
But
Wilson.
that was on a team that was coming off a horrible previous year. So
and they
like,
got better as the season went on. They kind of
Exactly.
dipped at the last minute, but
yeah.
again, like when you see these quarterbacks when the coaches hate them, there's no chance. Like, do I think Mac Jones is any good? I don't know. I don't think so, but he was absolutely destroyed by Belichick last year. Like
Where's Mac Jones now?
Jacksonville.
The
Jacksonville. Okay.
Jaguars.
Yeah.
God.
So he's from Jacksonville. He's obviously going to be the backup, but it gives a
Right.
little pressure on Lawrence. Like, hey man, like there's a guy that has started and has had success. He's behind you. Like, this is not a country club, you know. Like, you're not just going to have your job. I don't know. Maybe people think I'm nuts. It's just the idea that like you need a little competition, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like Trevor Lawrence is like the starter, and it's
Well, he is.
established.
I mean, obviously, Mac Jones ain't going to start, but there is
Right.
going to be competition. It's-
Yes,
they
especially
have-
since it's a younger quarterback too,
Yeah.
who's also like has been had a really up and down career, and you're not sure what to think of it. So you
Sure.
Yeah.
So there's like too many transactions to even like focus, and it's just like this guy went here, this guy went there. I mean,
Wait, Mariota's in Washington now?
he should just retire.
He should probably retire.
gonna
He's an all right backup.
He's going to be on every team.
that'll be great.
He's heading that way. Trubisky back with the Bills. I think Jaguars getting Gabe Davis. He's a solid receiver. I think that'll be good. I think the Bills will recover. That kid was playing really good, but they could probably use another wide receiver. Yeah,
The
I don't
Watt
know.
brother retires.
Who?
The Watt?
Yeah, Derek.
Oh.
Yeah, not
fullback.
the
fullback.
Not the, yeah.
Not
Yes.
CJ. Also retired was who else retired? I
don't
forget.
know.
Oh, Kelsey.
Well, that was last week though, I think.
Yeah.
That was
And he
last
had
week.
to be funny
Yeah.
and say Nick Foles had a big penis. Hard.
My God. All right. Well, we'll see. All this too. But almost every team that needed a quarterback went out and got one. So
Mhm.
this is looking bad for the Bears, who are of course trying to hustle Justin Fields off the team.
Yeah.
And now his trade value in this market is kind of bullshit now.
Yeah, he's in a bizarre spot. Because I
And-
don't think the Bears are gonna pass up Caleb Williams because they realize if they do, and he is the next thing since sliced bread, the franchise can't handle that.
Do you think the Vikings would go after him?
Well, I don't think they trade in the division. That's the problem.
Okay.
At
That's
this
the
point,
one thing.
what
'Cause
about
he-
this? If you're the Bears, you just
Yeah.
keep him.
Yeah.
You're only paying him 2-point-something million next year.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, why not? Right?
Yeah, and then if Williams
Then
is
who do
hurt or
you
if he's
start?
not quite ready to start,
Who do you
you
start
can
though?
you can let him pump up that stock.
Yeah, competition.
But also,
at
that's
camp.
a bad.
Yeah.
Like he's only owed like 2.7 million this upcoming year, and no team wanted to trade for him and take a flyer on him.
Well-
See if
well,
like
Here's the problem. Caleb Williams has a lot. He's got the power. Like,
yes,
you know, in a relationship, somebody's got the power. He's got
Yes.
all the power against the Bears. So he might be saying, like, hey, like, I'll make it real easy to sign there, but you got to get rid of Fields because I don't, I want to be the guy. I don't want any sort of competition. Like, I'm the guy. So they kind of have to dictate to some of his needs because you don't want to have where you're having trouble signing him. It's like you almost want to have it done before the draft.
I don't think he's gonna say shit.
He's
I don't
already
think
the rumors about
don't-
wanting to own the team.
that's bullshit.
I think
His
that's all
stat,
bullshit.
although he's still the number one pick, easily, I would still say. They thought he was compared to last year has kind of dwindled a little bit, you know.
Yeah. Well, I
Um,
think USC had a horrible season.
yeah, they did
Around-
not have a good season.
Yeah.
He didn't look as great as he did the year before, you know. So yeah, no, he can't come in and make those demands unless he wants like to be one of those like Eli Manning, where I'm not going to play for your team.
Well, why wouldn't he?
Because I don't know. Why would he?
Why
Is he a
wouldn't
little
he?
bitch who's afraid to compete?
There's a lot of little bitches. Do you think Eli Manning? There's tons of guys that they're the number
Eli
one pick.
Manning, that was an organizational choice, you know, and it worked out for him well.
Yeah, but he was not going to play for San Diego.
That's fine, but it wasn't because there was going to be some competition. It was like, I don't think anybody's done that. I think when Elway did that too, is the same thing. They just don't want to play for shit organizations.
I understand, but like whenever these guys, I'm just saying there's got to be something that like
Maddie's doing his kids these days spiel.
I'm just saying that it's not going to be easy and you want to get it done before the draft. And if he's like, I want Fields out, you probably got to get rid of Fields. I mean, the last team I can remember that traded a quarterback in their division was the Patriots trading Drew Bledsoe in 2002 to the Bills, which was pretty nuts. And that's very unheard of. So Fields is in a tough spot because if you look at all the quarterback, there's not a lot of spots available.
The only one I can think of is the Vikings, because you know who the Vikings like starting quarterback is right now. It's fucking Sam Darnold.
And I hear they want to
but the fact that they went to him,
Zach Wilson,
you know, and offered him $10 million as opposed to just trying out Justin Fields, essentially, tells you that. I mean, I think the only teams that are going to get now he's like reduced to a backup position, essentially, for what people are going to ask for him. Like they're asking for a backup. They're not asking for a starter. They're not asking for a prospect.
Well, what is Justin Fields? Is he a starter or is he a backup?
He is not a starter.
You don't think he's a starter?
No.
Apparently the league doesn't think he's a starter.
He's his entire career so far, which is what, like 2.5 years?
Yeah.
Was it 3 full years?
3 years, I guess.
Yeah. He's always been like, oh yeah, he's shown glimpses of like really good play, but a lot of the time it's not good.
No. I heard Zach Wilson might go to the Vikings.
That's hilarious.
Why not? Go there. That's like the Jets QB pick fuck up haven, you know? Like,
I would not be surprised if the Vikings drafted a quarterback like a Bo Nix, a Penix, somebody like that. You know,
where are they drafting though?
I would take Penix. I'm sorry. I know
but
you
where
guys.
Where are they drafting at?
I'm not sure. Probably 2019. I think they could get Penix.
You'd have to trade up. I don't think you're getting Penix that early.
I've had very few. I've seen very few. You know, mock drafts with Penix in the first round. To be honest,
yeah, me either.
I've seen both.
What about Bo Nix?
I'd rather
same with Bo Nix. I see him sometimes in the first round, sometimes not mentioned at all. You know,
I'd rather have Penix.
They're drafting at 11, Maddie.
No, then get another position.
What about Jaden Daniels?
I think he'll be gone by then.
I mean, look, whoever's playing quarterback's got a lot of weapons, so it's a lot of fun playing there. And you know, maybe Sam Darnold, the fourth time's a charm, but I don't believe in him.
Is this already the fourth?
He's on. Would be his fourth team.
Yeah.
Jets, Panthers,
dude,
49ers.
I totally forgot about the Jets.
Jim's too into the spring football.
It's UFL season, baby.
I know. Or AJ McCarron.
18 days.
If he has a good UFL season, or what's the league called?
Yeah, the UFL.
He could play for the Vikings.
He could. I think he's still going to be in contract with the Bengals though for a backup spot.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, hey, he plays year round. Good for him.
Oh, that'd be funny. Yeah. So he could. Can he play both? Like he's under contract for the Bengals, but
no, he like cut his contract for this. I think in the anticipation that he'd go back on contract when it's done.
Oh, okay.
He could probably like get a backup spot in most spots. He's a decent enough backup.
Sure. Well, he'd always be on call too when there's injuries. The phone's ready. Right, you know, he can suit up. learn a playbook fast. What about Browning? Browning had a couple good moments with the Bengals last year. I don't think he's gonna get a starting job this year. It's wild how tough, like how many few starting jobs are available. It's not easy to get one. You know, like if
Yeah.
you got one, be secure. But if you don't, you don't. I mean, what about the Raiders? Do they have a starting quarterback? Is Aiden
Yeah, I
O'Connell
think
the
they're
man?
drafting one.
I think losing Jacobs is big.
Where
He
did they
was.
get Minshew? Where did Minshew go?
Oh, they got Minshew.
Yeah.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Pretty sure
It's
they got
going so
Minshew.
fast.
I'm pretty
And
sure
I
they
think
got
they're
Minshew.
cutting Garoppolo too. So
Yeah.
Garoppolo is going to be out there.
You know, he's
Everybody wants
he's
a guy to play 4 games.
Garoppolo plays a very good part in that Patriots documentary.
Oh, does he now?
Yeah, because he's kind of brought in as like he's better looking, he's younger. Belichick loves him, and it's like they make him into a total villain with Belichick.
God, just think that. And then Belichick wanted to trade Brady, right? Like, and keep Garoppolo. Is
Yeah,
that what it
yeah,
was?
he did.
What could
He
have
absolutely
been?
did.
God.
They did such a hatchet job of Belichick because when he's talking to Garoppolo, he's like, "You were amazing, great game." Then it's like Brady after one of his great, Super Bowls. He's like, "Yeah, the team played well. I mean, that's the quarterback's job. We're supposed to win, so, you know,
Right.
total hatchet job on the Bell."
It's falling apart now. The documentary's falling apart a little bit.
No, I think it's good. It's funny. It's just so slanted against Belichick.
As it should be.
How many in are you now?
8, I think.
Oh,
Well, only 2 episodes left.
Only
Yeah.
2 episodes left.
We're getting to the end.
Oh, you
The
wonder how
dynasty's
it'll
done.
end?
Yeah. What's
The
up?
mystery? Do you wonder how it will end? The mystery?
I know it ends. It ends in going to the Bucks and winning a Super Bowl, and Belichick having a tough time with Cam Newton and Mac Jones.
Reminds me of the Doors movie, and my neighbor girl was like talking to my dad. She's like, "Don't you want to see the Doors movie and see how it ends and like the
I think he
mystery?"
dies.
Yeah, my dad's like, he died fat in a bathtub. That's what he did.
Yeah. I'll tell you this though, like smoking pot with hot reporters naked is a pretty good life though.
Yes, he had a good
I
life.
think the Doors are one of the most overrated bands ever, but that's just my opinion.
Hot take.
Hot take.
Hot take. You don't like them keyboards?
I love the keyboards, but they only have a couple good songs.
Yeah. I think they're good, but yeah, like if
I think
you
they would've
really
been
listen to
great to see
Morrison's
live.
lyrics, you're like, oh god.
Riders on the Storm.
Like some of it's really cool because it really hits the tone really well, but
Yeah,
then
and
like
the time.
you're just rhyming random shit.
He's
you
also
know?
just trash from Florida.
Yes, that's true too. Anyways, speaking
Yeah.
of trash, Jake Paul squaring up against Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
58-year-old
Tyson?
Mike Tyson.
He's 58, huh?
Yeah, dude's a member of AARP. And
Hey,
Jake
how old
Paul
is
wants
Jake
to beat
Paul?
the shit out of him. This is going to be on Netflix too, so there's a
How old
lot
is
of
Jake
big things
Paul?
happening. Jake Paul is probably like 28 or something.
Nah.
Oh, he's younger than me. Jake Paul,
Is he?
you're close, Luke. 27. He's 27.
27.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the rules for it too?
Now, what are the rules?
So Jake Paul is allowed to wear headgear.
Really?
Tyson is not.
But is
And,
Tyson in shape?
Tyson's been keeping in shape, but he's still 60 or 58.
I was gonna say
yeah.
he's in shape for an almost 60-year-old.
Right.
This is
Also,
so
I
boring.
believe that Jake Paul is allowed to tag in his brother Logan Paul to. I don't know if it's like a 2-on-1 thing.
How are they going to
situation,
sell it?
But
Wait, are you serious about the taking?
Are they going to
Yeah.
sell it like this is a real, like, we're mad at each other and we want to beat each other up? Or are we going to?
Well, they'll probably start some shit like that at some point.
Yeah. I don't know. I just
they'll
can't
start
get-
that up closer to July.
Yeah. So it's not pay per view.
No, it's on Netflix.
Because if it was pay per view and it was a shit show, everybody would want their money back.
My guess is Netflix is paying like $20 million for this thing. What do you think Netflix is paying for this?
I would
50
guess,
mil.
yeah, I'd say 50.
50? Wow.
Yeah. It's so
Yeah.
sad. It's such a
It's
I
hard
don't know.
for.
It does nothing for me.
Where did you read he's tapping people in and out? Or his
Oh, this
brother?
might have just been rumored.
I think
Yeah,
he's
why are you
talking
starting rumors,
bullshit right
Jim?
now.
It might
Jim,
have been
this is a
rumors.
factual
I
show.
heard it.
Everybody
I'm
comes
sorry.
here for the truth and reporting.
This is a sports hall, man.
It's still just an exhibition fight.
Right, but I don't think he's wearing headgear either.
He is not.
No,
Dude,
he's
can't-
boxed professional matches. He doesn't need the headgear.
Yeah, didn't he fight Mayweather?
No, that was his brother.
Who's
No.
the better fighter?
Neither of them fought Mayweather. They fought.
Who's in WWE?
No, what do you mean? One of them fought Mayweather.
Did they?
I think
Did one of them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's in the WWE?
Logan's the one that's in the WWE. Jake is the one that fought. Is like the big boxing guy.
I liked him more than the Kelsey brothers.
I think Logan fought Mayweather.
That's all I have to say. That's my take. I like him more than the Kelsey brothers.
I do not. That's just because you don't see him as much, Maddie. If you're like in internet culture at all, you see him way too much.
Maddie, what pills are you eating? Are you just slamming out of the
Gavin Penton. I shotgun him down.
Attaboy.
Christ.
That's what a real man does, buddy. Not a fruitcake like you. Probably takes your pills with water like a dainty little girl.
Water.
Yeah.
Speaking of girls, not dainty though. Caitlin Clark, Maddie, you're
Killing.
very high on Miss Caitlin.
You know, I'm gonna say
For
something.
some reason, I haven't heard anything about her.
I can't believe I'm saying this. Sunday, I wanted to watch college basketball. I didn't watch men's college basketball. I watched Iowa in an amazing game versus, who'd they beat? Ohio State, I think.
Well, Ohio State was the #1 seed, I believe.
Who they beat? Did they beat Ohio State? Yeah, they beat Ohio State. win
On
that.
which day? Sunday? No,
Yeah.
it was Nebraska.
No,
In the Big Ten tournament?
the championship game on Sunday.
In the Big Ten tournament, it was
Yeah.
Iowa versus Nebraska.
Okay, so they beat Nebraska.
Yeah,
Your
in
Nebraska.
overtime. It was a killer game.
Great game. I watched that.
Because she
Then I
started off
watched-
slow and then she like came through in like the second half and just balled out of control.
Then I'm like, LSU South Carolina, that's a fucking heavyweight match. I watched that. There
Oh,
was
that
a
was
fight.
awesome.
Did you like that fight?
I sure did.
That
And
I mean,
gotta
between
say,
Caitlin Clark and these fightings, I think I'm gonna start watching
I can't
women's
believe
college
I'm saying this.
basketball.
I'm more excited for the women's tournament than I am for the men's tournament. I know more about the women's players than I do about the men's players.
Maddie, you know about like a couple of the women.
Two players, but that's
Yeah.
more than I
That's
know.
all
about
you
the men's.
need.
And I love college basketball. I just, for some reason, I didn't get into it this year. I usually do, but I'll be watching all Caitlin Clark's games.
Manny, what school is your son's is your buddy's son playing at?
He will be going to Arkansas next year.
Oh, he's not committed, or he's
He's
not
a
there.
senior. He plays now with Pippin's son, and Sierra Canyon is the big school.
Oh,
he played
right.
he played with Bronny last year.
Oh, we could go watch him in Calabasas.
You know, you actually can't because I heard all the games are sold out. We wanted to go and take my nephew, but we couldn't.
We could get him on the secondary market, StubHub.
If they play like at the Staples Center or some of these other places, we'll go like for the tournament.
Yeah.
But I heard all these games are so hard to go to. But you're watching probably 3 or 4 NBA guys. Like Master P has a son who's incredible.
Well,
and
Master
that
P was a professional basketball player
Yeah.
at one point.
Yeah, so that was the game. Master P's son, I forget what high school, versus my friend's son, who has Scottie Pippen's son is on the team. Anthony Hardaway's son, I think, is on the team. And LeBron's son is on the team, his younger son, Bronzy or something. But yeah, it's hard to get tickets for sure. But I unfortunately know more about women's college basketball than the men's, which I only know 2 players, Caitlin Clark and the girl in LSU.
Maddie, will this translate to the WNBA? Because I think
No.
both of them are gone after this year.
I'll tell you what the problem is that with the WNBA is they force it down your throat. Don't force it down our throat. Just let it like naturally be like, look, we got these games. There's these girls are vicious. Like the South Carolina LSU game, that was fun. There was
Yes.
nobody on the bench. Everybody got thrown out of the game on the bench. It was dirty. It was good shit.
The other question I have is, do you think women's college basketball will be able to keep this momentum once like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, they're gone after this year.
Yeah, that's the problem. You
Done.
got to develop the characters. You know, Angel Reese is I mean, she was polarizing when she did the ring thing, and she's very pretty. Like people were very like, loved her, hated her, and that only made her brand 100 times bigger. Caitlin Clark, a lot of people don't like. They think she's a showboater, but she's she's a one-woman team, and there's something about when the tournament happens when you get like some of my favorite tournament memories is like one guy carrying the team.
Oh
Like
yeah.
Steph Curry with
Oh
Davidson.
yeah. That was
Yes.
so
Who
good.
didn't root for Steph Curry and Davidson?
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you get like those people are like one of those players that's like they're the team.
Like they
gotta carry
just
'em.
can't miss. They just fucking
And like the team loves them and they love their team, but they're the star player and they got to put up a 40 burger to keep it alive. Those are the most fun tournament games. And, Caitlin Clark, she doesn't have a lot of players around her on Iowa. So she's got to carry that team. And it's like, I saw a video of them getting off the plane or something. Like, they're bigger than the fucking Beatles in Iowa.
They're going to be a 1 seed. They're projected right now as a 1 seed.
I can't believe I'm talking about this.
I'm looking at their bracket. I'm looking at the women's bracketology right now.
I've always considered myself a sexist pig, and I can't believe I'm saying this shit.
It's coming out of your mouth.
There's a shot they could get knocked out in the Sweet 16, but I believe they make the elite. They'll probably play Oklahoma.
And who's Nebraska? Are they like a 2 or a 3 seed?
They're an 8 seed in both the men's and the women's, it looks like.
Does your lady does she follow sports like women's sports, or she don't care?
No, she does not. The only thing she follows like rodeo a little bit, but that's about it.
Rodeo.
Have you gambled on rodeo?
I forgot.
I have not. I need to.
Have you ever been
rodeo?
To
Is fun.
Vegas?
I love going to the rodeo.
No, I'm going to my first rodeo this year in Wyoming.
Nice. With her?
Where?
Yep. Frontier Days over.
Are you gonna dress like a cowboy?
I might, Maddie.
Where in Wyoming? I've been to a rodeo in
cowboy
Wyoming.
hat shopping.
That's so funny. I went to this really small town.
Cheyenne.
Ah, nice. I went to this one rodeo in a small town, and it was.
It's wild about rodeos. When I would stay at South Point, they'd have the rodeo there, and I would get on the elevator with like a cowboy, and me and him in the elevator was like, we'd size each other up. And the thing about these cowboys is like you can get on that shit at 9 in the morning, 8 in the morning. I'm wearing like shorts, my sleep shirt. I look like shit, flip flops. These motherfuckers, they're dressed to the nines at 8 in the morning. Like they don't go out wearing like sweatpants or shorts. They got the ball cruncher jeans, a big fucking belt buckle, the 10-gallon hat, the shirt buttoned to the top in 100-degree weather. Like these motherfuckers don't play.
Maddie, if a cable would have snapped and you all would have crashed into each other, you would have formed that Herb guy.
Yeah.
What's this? Herb what? The guy we did from the Dark Side of the Ring.
Herb Brooks. Herb Abrams.
Herb Abrams, yeah. You would have formed Herb Abrams.
Well, the other thing too about him is we look at each other and they're like, what the fuck is this guy? And I'm like, what the fuck is this guy?
Is this one of them Jews I've heard about?
But why do they like not wear like shorts or sweatpants or
because they're classy people.
Jim, when you go to the rodeo, are you gonna wear
they're
the
not
shirt
like
button
slobs?
To the top?
They don't dress like stuttering John.
I might, Maddie. I might dress the part. I might dress the part.
Would you wear the whole shit?
The cowboy boots and the
you gotta button your shirt to the top.
Yeah.
I would get like one of those rhinestone cowboy suits.
Yeah, those jeans gotta be
fucking late 70s country singer. That's what I'd be rolling in.
They seriously like the way they hug the dick. Oh my god, I need space, bro.
No, everyone's packing like Matty goddamn Goldberg.
You want to show it off, dude. You want to show off that hammer.
You got an anaconda down there. You gotta like get a little space with some sweatpants.
Yeah, let it breathe.
Yeah.
No, you don't. You choke that fucker and let the jeans promote your work to the world.
I'm telling you, South Point, they have the rodeo there, and you get like legitimate cowboys, and you get this cat together. it's a weird combination. It's like
I
a
like
weird
that combination,
combination.
actually. I
Yeah.
think that's great. Did you guys see this Iditarod shit? Have you ever watched the Iditarod in your life?
No.
Nope.
That is the dog
It's
sled
the
racing.
dog sled racing. I
in
know what
I know what
it
Alaska.
it is.
It now I might start watching it because this guy got fined for not gutting a moose during one of his races.
What?
Yes, according to ESPN, Iditarod officials on Wednesday imposed a 2-hour time penalty on musher Dallas Seavey for not properly gutting the moose he killed during the race earlier this week. Basically, his a moose
Maybe
got
he's a-
tangled up in the lines with his dog lines, and you're supposed to like kill it and gut it for some reason. I'm sure there's probably like preservative reasons.
Maybe he's a vegetarian.
Yeah, you got to gut it and report it to the officials.
Someone might go and like grab it for the meat, maybe. I don't know.
Yes, I think it's
When COVID hit and when all sports was over, like I was like debating, like, do I get into like the
Oh yeah, you could
Iditarod?
bet. I remember they had lines for that.
Yeah, the log jam. You remember the sport where the guys are on the logs? Like those were the only
Oh.
sports going at the time. So like if we have another global pandemic, maybe the Iditarod it'll get on my radar. But I'm a college basketball women's fan. I'm
now.
a college basketball women's expert.
I mean, that brawl was nice, but nobody got gutted during it.
exactly. That fight was great, by the way.
It was a good
Second-
fight. I like Angel Reese when she was walking off,
Yep.
and then like some big center from South
Just
Carolina just
drilled
came
her.
over and nailed her. Just
That was a
you can tell
top
those
3
two
bodied
college
her.
basketball brawl that I've seen in the last 10 years.
And I
Yeah.
like the coach because she's like, look, I'm gonna ham it up. She's got like the trinkets and the weird outfits.
Oh yeah.
You know, coaches nowadays, like, you know, like the NFL, like they all wear licensed shit. So whatever they're trying to sell, you got to wear that week. There was a time that like Landry had the hat.
Oh, yeah.
Ditka had a style.
Hank
Dan
Stram
Reeves-
had a nice suit
Suit.
coat. Yeah,
Yeah.
like with a little Chiefs badge on it. I
and
think.
then some
like,
guys look like slobs.
Yeah.
Like Jack Pardee was a slob. Everybody had you know, you can have
Jerry
your sense of
Glanville
style.
might have been one of my favorites though.
Yeah, he used to leave tickets for Elvis and
Yeah, you dress in fur coats and
black.
cowboy
Yeah.
hats, like
yeah, he was a
Just a
colorful
G.
guy. Yep.
total G. All right, let's see. Anything else in normal news this week?
Where do you
Oh,
watch the Iditarod before we like move on from that topic real quick?
There's
Where
probably
do you
a
actually
website.
watch it?
I don't know. How do you watch the Iditarod?
I'll
You
look
got to
that up
watch
real
it
quick.
live in Alaska.
Yeah,
You have to go there.
Do you think there's people that actually go there to watch it?
I guarantee you there's some.
Like, hey, we're gonna go to. They live in New York, and like, let's go to Alaska because we go to the Iditarod every year.
So you can watch it on like the Roku channel or Prime Video, stuff like
I
that.
do
They
have
should
the Roku
stream that on
channel.
Twitch. They should stream it on Twitch.
Yeah, why not?
I'm sure on YouTube somebody has it. I mean, YouTube has everything. If you can watch,
I wonder how they
Luxury-
film that shit too. I mean, it's probably cool with drones now, but
If you can watch Archie Luxury try to pick up hookers in Thailand, you can probably watch the Iditarod. That's an inside joke for anybody who knows who Archie Luxury
what
is.
we've covered Archie Luxury on.
We
here
have.
before.
Did you ever see the video where he yells at that girl to get a job?
I don't know if we covered that video.
That's one of the best.
All
He's
right,
like,
did
why
you-
don't you get a fucking job? You fucking bitch.
all right. I found something else that's interesting. So Aaron Rodgers might be tapped to run with RFK Jr.
I saw this too. Do you think he would go on the campaign trail?
I don't think he would go on the trail. What I think he would do is probably fly in a few different places, but that's so far down the road, you know, like, and
Is
that
that
will
for sure
happen
what it-
during, I mean, you have elections during, November.
Yeah, because he's
Mhm.
running independent, right? So
Yeah. So
I
wait,
guess
is it this year?
Does
that's gonna be the
RFK
election?
Jr.
yeah,
have any
it'd be
chance
this
of
year,
winning?
but he has to be
I don't
able
know.
to get on the ballot.
Yeah. And
Like,
I think he's running as an independent.
he-
He probably could, because I think
guess he
Do
he's
you
doesn't
got,
think
get
he
enough
will
votes.
make vaccines mandatory? Another COVID vaccine.
Oh God, RFK has been anti-vaccine for decades now.
Forever.
Yeah,
All vaccines.
Yeah, he's anti like all vaccines.
Yeah, they try to clarify that stuff, but to me, it still sounds like he's very anti-vaccine everything. But I can't. I always want to listen to him, but then I can't stand his voice. Because he
I've never really heard him
like
talk.
that, like this.
Dude,
like...
he sounds like he's done nothing but smoke a cigarette every minute that he's been alive.
Yeah, and I feel bad because I think it's some sort of condition he had.
It's definitely a condition, but it's just a It's like he just chews gravel.
Yeah, it sounds like Stephen Hawking if his little vocoder thing was malfunctioning.
Did you guys watch any of the Oscars this
I
year?
did. I had a buddy invite me over. He wanted to watch the Oscars. So I was like, whatever. I got a free meal out of it.
I couldn't watch it.
I got a free meal. I wanted to see how well I predicted them because I saw a couple of Oscar movies this year.
Did you predict a lot?
I did, but like if I would have actually bet, it wouldn't have been two because a lot of them were heavy favorites.
Let me ask you guys a question.
It was an all right show. There was a couple.
You know how like people predict sports and they're like, "Wow, man, you hit that game perfectly," and that's impressive. Is it impressive to predict the Oscars when people are voting on this crap? Like,
I think so.
Does that make you impressive?
To an extent,
absolutely.
So.
Yeah, you're trying to predict people making decisions. Okay. You know, and
you're not predicting what's the best thing, obviously.
No.
You're predicting what
I think some people are. Some people are. The losers are.
You know what happened to me? I'm so used to watching these Dabbleverse videos. I'm not going to go into what the Dabbleverse is right now, but it's just guys calling other guys losers, cowards, piece of crap, calling their wives fat, whores, sluts. And then I'm so used to that. So then I turn on the Oscars and it's the supporting actor. And they bring out 5 former winners, and they have to.
That was a cool thing. I don't think they had done that previous years.
I
thought that was kind of cool. I thought it was cool.
So they just ball wash 5. Like the little guy from the Goonies comes out, and he's like, "This guy is so brave in this movie, and so his performance was so courageous, and like he's a better man than his performance." And I'm like, okay. I had to turn it off and I had to put on some Dabbleverse videos to be like, "You fucking whore slut. Fuck you, you cunt bitch." And I'm like, I'm more comfortable in this world than this bullshit world. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of bullshitness to the Dabbleverse though, but at least it's
at least there's like I can't handle the dick slurping ball washing.
Did you see Slash?
I saw a picture of him on the stage.
Slash there.
That ain't worth me wasting 3 hours of my night. I can whack off for 3 hours and get more done.
Ouch.
Jim, why do your friends hate me so much?
My friends don't hate you, Maddie.
They have every right to hate you. You know what you did.
You know what you did.
Did you see? I saw something stupid. It might be dumber than the Dabbleverse. Is the Dartmouth men's basketball team is unionizing.
Wait, the college?
Yes, in college. You know, that's an Ivy League school where they don't have scholarships and they don't make.
They're not even a good Ivy League team. I mean,
and the school doesn't make any money from that. You know?
Sure.
Like
that's kind of weird.
It is weird that it's happening too, because apparently it can only go to you can only do this at schools that aren't publicly funded for some reason.
What are they trying to accomplish out of it?
I don't know. It was like that's why I think it's kind of silly, because I'm like, you guys don't bring in any revenue. This is just this is almost a glorified intramural team.
Sure.
You know.
Well, they do play in their Ivy League, I would imagine. I don't.
Yeah, but that's not generating any revenue. They probably have to do a bake sale to support the team.
Is it like a stunt?
No, it's not a stunt. They're being serious.
Yeah, but they're probably a little smarter than some of the other teams, so they know like what their rights are and what the best advantages they can take out of the few years they're going to play there.
Yeah,
like I'm assuming they know these little glitches that like can help them out, but I mean,
you're probably right on that aspect because they're a bunch of brainiacs, but
it is bizarre because you're just like, who? Like, I wouldn't know
Right.
one Dartmouth player. I wouldn't know what their record is. I don't think anybody knows what their record is. What's their
No.
record, Jim? You know
Looking it
everything.
up right now, Maddie. I'm
Jim's
looking
already
it up.
bet on them 5 times this year.
No, I didn't bet any Ivy League.
Come on.
And I have friends who would do that. I have friends like I got a lock and they give me these 2. Yeah.
Bottom of the Ivy League, 6-21 overall record, 2-12 in conference.
It's kind of funny though. You gotta admit.
You want to hear some famous Dartmouth graduates?
Yeah.
Aisha Tyler, comedian. You know her, don't you, Maddie?
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, Mindy Kaling.
Okay, wow.
Shonda Rhimes.
You know what the reputation of the school is, though? It's supposed to be more of a conservative school.
Really?
Yeah. Like, it's like always known as the conservative Ivy League school.
Yeah.
Maybe it's changed because I don't know any university that could probably survive as being conservative, but that's what it was known for years.
Also, I think the cop from Stranger Things went there too.
I think he did.
Brad Osmus
He did.
went there. Brad Osmus went there.
Oh,
he was a
Tiger legend, Brad Osmus.
Yeah, and
Okay.
manager.
They do have a guard with a cool
Mr.
name.
Rogers went there.
Their point guard has a cool name. His name is Romeo Mithril.
Oh, that's
maybe he'll market that
That's
shit.
sick. Also, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't want to make this a race thing. There are 5 black basketball players on this whole team.
Okay.
Okay.
That doesn't sound like a lot.
No.
Sounds like an Ivy League school.
It does.
Man, there's a lot of actors that go to Ivy League schools. I don't like that.
Yeah.
They're all fucking rich. It's all nepotism, dude.
Yeah. I know.
You're right.
Look at me, man. I'm big in Hollywood. I got tons of nepotism.
That's right, Maddie.
My dad was the president of Sony Pictures.
I think your dad had some pictures from Sony.
Probably. By the way, Joe Mixon to Texans.
I thought you were going to say Joe Mixon went to Dartmouth.
No, he went to Oklahoma where he punched that girl.
But I like
Brett Musburger got in trouble.
Like studying all night and then knocking.
You remember Brett Musburger got in trouble?
Of course, yeah.
He's like, I want this young man to have a good life after this. And everybody's like, what a piece of shit. I think you were misinterpreting what he was trying to say. I mean, he wasn't condoning what he did. He was just saying, like, people make mistakes and we can, you can learn from it. And if he took his punishment and he, but I don't know. Poor Brett Musburger.
There's one more thing. No,
yeah.
There's not one more thing I want to talk about.
By the way, St. Mary's is beating Gonzaga 31-27 with a minute left in the first half.
All right.
So I was gonna say, if this is any year St. Mary's is gonna get their win, because that's like a huge rivalry. This is St. Mary's year.
No, Drew Timme. Drew Timme could have been back this year too, and he didn't.
Is he in the NBA?
Probably on some 2-way contract or just G League somewhere. I don't know.
Why isn't he playing?
Because he's not NBA
His
material.
Father's from your hometown.
That's right, Muskegon, Michigan. That's right.
Currently, guys, he is on the G League team for the Bucks.
Yeah,
he's with the Wisconsin.
Like Luka Garza is the same way. I think he goes 2 ways and goes like to the G League.
I always say those. I mean, maybe like I bet Drew Timme would have stayed if NIL was a bigger thing back when he like.
Well, he could have made a lot of money.
It is.
Oh, he was there last year, wasn't he?
He could have made a lot of money this year.
Yeah.
I don't know what Luka Garza, how many more years he had left, but he
I don't think he had any.
Some of these guys got to know, like Frankie, like he's somewhere on a bench in the NBA. Like you got to know your value. Like you got to know, like you're just an incredible college player. All
right, boys.
Yeah.
It's been a year, and it is time.
Oh, God, I was waiting for that.
How dare you make fun of that, Jim?
No, I love it, Maddie. I love it.
How dare you?
I'm paying homage. I am respecting it.
I'm going to that rodeo. I'm going to take a dump in the middle of it to ruin it.
That'd be hilarious.
You know what? Jim is going to come out and lasso you and tie you up nude in front of everybody. Hog tie your little ass. Leave your glasses on.
Tell those Cowboys to suck my dick.
Do it.
And they might. I've seen Brokeback Mountain. Who knows? This week, Dark Side of the Ring. It's back, motherfucker.
Earthquake.
Covering Earthquake, aka John Tenta. Oh boy. This guy, he should have unionized. He was a college wrestler at LSU. This was different times. LSU ended up cutting their wrestling department while he was there. Or not department, but
Can I say one thing? I don't want to give a spoiler, but I think this is one of the interesting dark sides because they're like, let's do a guy who didn't do drugs. Let's do a guy that's not gonna like. This is like the first one where it's like the guy actually was pretty. He seemed like a lovely man that played it straight.
yeah, I feel like, of course, so when you get ones like these, I'm not going to have any sound clips because there is no Jim Cornette.
Yeah.
Which, if there's a Jim Cornette, it's usually a pretty good
great.
episode where he's calling somebody a stupid son of a bitch or whatever.
I'm gonna piss in his mouth.
Yeah. Fuck you, Dairy Queen
Endlessly
lady.
quotable.
Vince Russo, I'll piss in your mouth.
Have you ever listened to his podcast? I feel like his podcast might be too much Jim Cornette.
I'll tell you the problem with his podcast. You will get a topic and he will talk for 2 hours about talk about this match in 1987, like the third match of the card, and he can talk for 2 hours about it. You're like, okay, Jim, we get it.
Right.
But he just loves wrestling.
Reined in a little bit,
I was listening
a little
to
structure.
I was listening to the other guy's podcast who's good. What's his name? He does it with the fat guy with the southern accent. He used to be in WWE. He was Brother Love.
Oh, shit.
Very good podcast.
Yeah, no, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Why is his name slipping me? God. Anyway, he talked about Cornette's bachelor party.
Yeah.
Yeah, how wild it was.
How wild.
He said no strippers,
no
drugs, no alcohol. Just a hotel room. Jim Cornette had a bunch of wrestling tapes to watch because it was the VHS days.
I feel cheated.
He goes, we sat in a hotel room and Jim was excited about these matches he got that he never saw before.
That's Jim Cornette for you. And that was Bruce Pritchard, by the way. Bruce Pritchard.
Yeah, Pritchard.
Brother Love. Yeah. So anyway, John Tenta, Earthquake, started out wrestling for LSU. I wonder if he knew what's his Ed Orgeron.
I think when he was around, it might have been there Chris Jackson, maybe.
Not Chris Jackson.
He played there. He changed his name. The guard.
Yeah, but that was like in the 90s. I feel like this would have been in the early 80s or something.
86 to 84 to 88. He was probably there. Probably
Chris
a little
Jackson,
before.
Chris Jackson was not there that early.
He was probably 90 to 94, Chris Jackson.
I think 90s because I have a good memory of Amir Shahub Rauf.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so he
is all right. So wrestling program gets cut.
Okay.
He was there at 1985. Okay.
Before that, yeah.
And it was Canadian, right?
85.
I think he was Canadian.
Yeah, from BC.
Oh,
yeah, British Columbia.
Okay. So wrestling program gets cut at LSU. He heads to Japan to wrestle in sumo.
Which I immensely respect. I love that so much.
And so he did it for about 8 months. It was undefeated, but apparently they just treat you like shit and make you do all this ridiculous stuff when you're a new guy in sumo.
Well, especially like if you're in the lower division, it's kind of shitty. It's your royalty if you're in the upper divisions, but when you're in the lower divisions, you're just kind of like, it's a lot of hate. You're like a slave.
Yeah. And he was very, very popular. He was the tallest guy there. And he actually made a news conference when he decided to skip out on sumo and go into pro wrestling in Japan. So that was a big deal. He was doing real good. And of course, he gets the call. Hey, John, I need you to come to WWE and wrestle Hogan for me.
Big deal.
It's a big deal. That's the deal. So much so where the Japanese guys are like, get the fuck out of here. Go, dude. Not even trying.
I also think like knowing wrestling for 40 years, if you're a bad guy, the farthest you can get is to wrestle the main guy. Like you might not never win the title, but to wrestle the main guy is where the money's at.
Exactly. And you're a guy that's just spent a little time in the Japanese league too.
Mhm.
So you're going from the bottom to the top here in 6.8 seconds.
I was
Very
gonna
fast.
ask, like, how many guys get their actual start with like the Japanese league?
I don't know. I know that was big in the 80s and whatnot.
Well, what they do is they go like, because they don't, back when there was more territories, you didn't stay in a territory the whole time until Vince kind of made WWF like a national thing. So like you could go like to this territory, then do a month in Japan, and these guys love going to Japan because the money
they-
was massive.
Yeah, because they go crazy for this stuff.
Exactly.
Especially
The
back
crowds are
then.
bigger. So like it's a big deal to go there, and a lot of guys, that's where they make most of their money.
So he goes and he wrestles Hogan. Of course, they have him lose because no one was allowed to beat Hogan back in the
Yeah.
day. But he was still very big and popular as Earthquake in the WWE when they did a show in Japan at the Tokyo Dome. He wrestled a guy named Koji Kotai. And this guy was not a big wrestler. He was more of a real like sumo guy, and he thought he was going to be a bigger star than everybody there. And he was just so pissed that Earthquake was supposed to beat him that he tried to do a shoot match and really do it for real. And fucker Earthquake held his ground and
I think
said,
I've
"Fuck
seen
you."
clips of that.
Yeah, he said, "Fuck you," and then kicked him even. And the guy just fucking had a meltdown, got on the mic, said wrestling's fake, and I'm out of here.
And that was during the real kayfabe days.
Right. That was before everything got totally exposed.
Yeah.
Admitted to at least. Goes back to he's back at the WWF, and this is like one of the funniest things you'll see because Jake the Snake Roberts, of course, had Damien, his big
I
python
saw that
snake,
live.
his big
I was
boa
old
constrictor.
enough,
Yeah.
and I was like, I was at the age that I'm like, this is so dumb.
Yeah. So
They
Earthquake
killed Damien.
pulls out the snake from under
Yeah.
the ring and then does his finishing move on it and then squishes the snake. And apparently, of course it was fake. They didn't really kill a poor snake, but it was just pantyhose filled with ground beef in there.
But then they had made snake burgers.
Yeah, and then later
With
on,
Robbie the Brain Heenan.
they did like a vignette where he's feeding Vince McMahon and Bobby Heenan all these burgers, and they're like, "Oh, this is so good. What's in it?" He's like, "Oh, it's Damien, the snake."
And they start vomiting.
The McMahon runs off pissed.
I think around that time was like 91, 92. That was my favorite time of wrestling, even more than the Austin years.
Yeah, it was fun. It was really a lot of
It was
fun,
just so
and Heenan was
silly
great. And it was
yeah.
and you had people like Heenan that were just so good.
Heenan was a G. He was the greatest of all time, in my opinion.
I would agree. Yeah, and Jesse Ventura was very, very
Jesse
good
was great too.
on the
Yeah.
microphone. Also, the
Yeah.
other guy being wooed to be the vice president with RFK Jr.
Yeah.
Just the least controversial people on the planet all forming a super team. Anyway, so of course, after you wrestle Hogan, there's nowhere to go but down. And so his solo career starts waning. So he teams up with Tugboat, now wrestling as Typhoon, to form
He
the
looks
natural
good, by
team.
the way.
He does. He looks great.
I was like, what the fuck happened? He had this terrible mullet. He had this awful white sailor pants with these red candy stripes that never really looked like good. And they were a decent tag team. I mean, they're two big fat guys, but fat guys do well in wrestling.
But I realized when I looked at Tugboat, what I didn't like about Earthquake didn't have much muscle tone.
No,
like Tugboat was fat, but he still had a lot of muscle on.
And Earthquake, I never got why, even though he's so fat, like why, how, like I remember King Kong Bunny used to do the splash,
right?
But Earthquake would do a thing where he jumped 3 times and then sit on your face.
Yes.
I don't know how that hurts you.
Well, he's 400 pounds, Maddie.
But it's like his butt has that much explosion.
Yes, it's explosive butt.
I don't get it.
Jim's like half that guy's size. I bet
That
his
killed a
ass is
snake.
totally
Sitting on a
explosive.
snake like that killed the snake.
Yes.
Did. Killed it.
Okay.
Made it into burgers.
Let me just say, nobody had a bad word to say about John Tenta. He was a love man,
Yes.
and he met a very beautiful woman, Filipino,
Yeah, she was
their friend
gorgeous.
Jason on GoCo, and have 3 lovely children who adored their father.
Yeah, they all loved him, and he adopted her small child too,
Mhm.
who just loved him as much as you
Yeah.
loved him like a father.
And that's
Exactly.
why this one is different because, yes, there was some tragedy at the end, but there wasn't this like Brian Pillman, like drugs, this or like
No, it was
next.
nothing.
Yeah.
Well, it was a little slightly self-inflicted. We'll get to that in a little bit, but
Yeah.
it was not like a long fucking, you know, decay through
Mhm.
body harm.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
wasn't,
Anyways,
yeah.
so they're the natural disasters, and they're just dominating, killing everybody. And they won the championship, and they did good. They had a good year run, and then they decided the WWE, of course, wanted to go with different people for a while. So then they were kind of out of work. Quake goes back to Japan for a while, and Typhoon Tugboat heads to WCW, and that was one of the greatest things I've ever seen too. The Shockmaster. Did you guys ever see that before?
Yeah, it's one of the greats.
So they dress him up in like this glittered stormtrooper helmet, and like Sting is out there like talking. Let me introduce you to the Shockmaster. And he's supposed to go through this wall, but
Yeah,
the wall
like
was
the
not.
Kool-Aid.
The wall was not propped out. It was a real wall. So he was trying to crash through boards, and he just trips, and his headgear
Helmet.
falls off. And then he puts the headgear back on, and it's this dubbed over voice, like, Ole Anderson and some robot gravel voice. And it was a disaster. I don't think he ever wrestled.
Probably
And
not. I
I
mean,
don't know what their plan was with that too.
well,
Like,
WCW had some terrible ideas. There was another guy. They hyped this guy up for months. Remember Glacier?
yes, that was a similar thing. It's
They
like where they
would
have
do-
supernatural powers.
For 6 months, they're like, Glacier, he's gonna change wrestling coming soon. And he did not change
Because that
wrestling.
was like a takeoff of Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero, I think, and he was going to make you freeze like Dr.
Exactly, yeah.
Like it was just
Yeah,
very, very bad, very, very bad.
Yeah,
but
bad
it was
variety.
great. But he said Tugboat, aka Typhoon, the Shockmaster, said that was great for him because it made him viral and everybody laughed at it, and he just loved
Yeah.
it too. So he got to sign a lot of
He
autographs.
seems like he has a good sense of humor about everything.
Really good
Yeah.
self-awareness, and,
Sure.
and yeah, still in good shape, looks good. No
Yeah, some of these
tragedy
guys
with
don't.
him.
Some of these have no sense of humor about
No,
that.
sometimes it's like they're interviewing people at their homes, and like their homes, there's trash everywhere, and screens are
And
missing.
you can
Well,
see
like
that they're
Bret
like
Hart-
super jaded.
You
Oh
talk like
God!
Bret Hart. Bret Hart will act like, I should have done this. I was this. I should have, like it's like
Yeah,
fake, buddy.
right. That's the one knock I have against Bret Hart is just stop taking it so fucking seriously, dude.
Well, I always like Sean over him. As
Sure,
Vince said,
Sean was exciting. Yeah,
I'll say this to you guys and Vince. I didn't screw Bret Hart. Bret Hart screwed Bret Hart.
that's right. So Bret Hart, if you're listening,
Matty, you should dress up as Vince McMahon this year for Halloween.
I think I will.
it'd be great.
Maybe I'll
Slick
do
your
like
hair
a
back.
TikTok, like weird Vince, like some weird kind of Jewish Vince McGoldberg.
Vance McGoldberg.
You're fired. You ungrateful bitch.
Get on your knees and bark, you fucking whore.
I should have never married you, you bitch. And you had me a loser bitch daughter, Stephanie.
You're
A
gonna-
whore.
You're gonna have semen coming out of all of your holes.
By Triple H.
And Brock Lesnar.
Eh.
Anyway, back to the story at hand. Quake comes back to the States after wrestling in Japan for a while, and he heads to the WCW. There's more money, less strain on him, less work days. So he's a real family man, He wants to spend time with his hot Filipino wife and his cool kids. And the WWE was like, 7 shows a week or 9 shows a week all year
Yeah.
round. It was
Sure.
insane. There's no breaks.
No
So they bring
breaks.
him in as Avalanche, okay? Thinking, all right, that'll remind people of Earthquake. No, nope. Vince McMahon is not allowing that. That's too close to Earthquake. That's another natural disaster. Not gonna allow it. So he comes back as the Shark, and they put a fucking fin on his head and paint his face blue, and it was dumb, and it was over. That was it.
And then the last thing was even more humiliating.
It was Golga, who was like a member of the Insane Clown
Oddities.
Posse, the
Yeah.
Oddities, their troupe.
Yeah.
So he's just a masked guy, which never goes too far.
And he would just dance like an idiot, and it was embarrassing.
Yeah. Then he went on to work at a retail store, like selling, big and tall clothing to big and tall men in the mall. Imagine if like you're then working at the mall and people are coming up to you like, wait, you're the fucking Earthquake. Why are you gonna sell me? You're gonna
Hey,
sell me a
Thurry
tie?
Johnson's substitute teacher.
Yes, that's true, but that's expected. And then he went into truck driving. And while he's driving trucks, he developed blood clots and he decided to ignore it. As
Don't
a lot of
ignore
men
it.
do.
That is the American way.
I just got my blood work. Don't ignore it.
What happened, man? Are you okay?
I think I'm good. I haven't heard from the doctor.
Oh, I
so-
thought you'd heard news.
No, I think I go tomorrow anyway. We set an appointment when I got it, but I think they would have called me because it's been a week. So
Okay.
I think if it was bad, they would have been like, "You got to come in right away."
Right.
I pray.
I think you're okay.
Yeah.
You're
But
a
get
little
your
bit of a
blood work.
hypochondriac in you, but
I
you're
am.
not overreacting to this, so I feel
I
good
do.
about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so then it turns out he had bladder cancer, which apparently is one of the most treatable cancers too, but it was too late.
Mm.
And he died after about a year of fighting it. I think it went away for a while and then it came back, and it was just very sad. His
Yeah.
family, his wife loved him in a way my wife will never love me.
Oh, stop it.
His kids loved him in a way that my non-kids will never love me.
I
It was a
mean-
good family, man.
And what we learned is like, okay, we can do Dark Sides 2 without the excessive, I love the stories. I mean, next week is Buff Bagwell, who I have personal stories about because
I can't wait for that.
I was part of the Iron Sheik roast, and I was talking to Earl Skakel today, and we were saying that was probably the tipping point because he was so wasted, and he, instead of roasting anybody, he just talked about eating pussy for 5 minutes.
Buff
and then-
Bagwell. Oh my.
And he was dodging through traffic on the Sunset. Like, we were like, he's gonna die. He's just walking in traffic on Sunset Boulevard. He was the real deal.
Was he still jacked?
Yeah, they got a lot of booze and a lot of pizza, and he ate all the pizza and he drank all the booze. And then he went up there with his stupid hat and instead of doing-
Wait, he actually wears that hat in real life?
Yeah. This was 2000 and maybe 13 or 12.
Yeah.
So he went up and like it's a roast, and a lot of wrestlers did do jokes. You know what was funny was Tiny Lister was very funny. He passed away. Zeus, yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Belding was very funny.
Oh yeah.
But
Mr. Belding was my first like celebrity I saw in LA because I went to karaoke, and he basically got to cut in front of me because he was Mr. Belding, and then he's saying I'm just a gigolo.
No, he had a great shtick. He was like, "What does the Sheik say about Justin Timberlake?" The Sheik says, "Fuck that piece of shit. I'll fuck him in his ass." Whatever he says, But Buff was horrifically bad, and we were all like, "This guy is like not for long in this world." So,
is he dead now, Buff?
No, he's alive. Maybe I'll ask Earl to come on because Earl.
Funny.
So what happened at the roast is this is what happened.
Yeah.
Earl does like a Rick Rude character.
Yes.
And he wears like the little wrestling thing, and he was doing like I would need all you guys to shut up and everything, and he's taking some shot at people because it's a roast, and one of the wrestlers went from behind him and just yanked his dick out for a couple thousand people.
Ah. Earl's pretty cut though, right? He's in shape.
He's got he's
probably
he's
waiting
in
for
his
that
50s.
moment. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't hiding anything.
Here's my dongaroo.
Yeah. But
All right.
this was a refreshing one because it didn't get too much into like you're so like I remember Dennis
It was
Leary.
pretty positive.
Yeah.
Compared, like, especially comparatively.
Like Dennis Leary used to have a joke about these rock documentaries. It's like I'm broke, I'm a famous, I'm on drugs,
Yeah.
I'm broke, I'm rehabbed, it's either you die, like everyone is rinse repeat.
Yes.
And this one was refreshing because when him and Typhoon like would say like I'm on the road together, they're like, yeah, we didn't do drugs, we just kind of watched and
Right.
people watch and we just talked about life and did our own thing. And I thought that was cool.
It was cool. It was nice. It was a good, although I feel they should have started out with another like Jim Cornette type one and then did this one as a palate cleanser kind of thing. Unless they're like, oh, everybody's going to want Jim Cornette. We'll just hold off on it a few episodes.
Well, Jim Cornette got in a little trouble lately because he was like going after the girl that did the lawsuit against Vince. And I'm like, not a hill to die on.
That's right. He's like kind of saying it's her fault kind of thing.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Good old Jim.
He's the best.
All right. Anything you guys want to say before we get out of here?
No, just looking forward to next week. Looking forward to watch the Buff the Stuff and I'm excited, to watch Selection Sunday with both women and men's and
2.5 weeks until the UFL.
Hell yeah.
I'm excited for that too.
Mark your calendars.
My nephew loves football and he'll get into it. So
I wasn't as in on all the NFL training and like all that stuff because it was cut day and training camp for the UFL this week.
Too. And who got cut? Who are some of the mentions?
Well, Bo Scarborough retired.
So he's a running back.
The Alabama running back. He retired.
He's got to be what, 27, 26?
He said you can love football, but football can't love you back.
No, it's tough. How's Trent Richardson?
27, Matty.
Is Trent Richardson on a roster?
I don't think so. I think Chad Johnson said he'd play if someone.
Do you think he can make a team?
Chad Johnson.
Maybe he could kick.
He's on Shannon Sharp's podcast talking about eating butthole. I love that guy. God, don't go back to the league.
He predicted the Super Bowl. He said if the Chiefs lose, he won't have sex for a year.
Wow.
Damn. That's pretty certain.
They didn't lose. That's a good bet.
Sir.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week for another edition of the Sports Hole. Bye-bye.